Last
Well,
week, TikTok got banned. I think it was Saturday that in the US they had this message saying,
yep.
guys, we're offline. How did you look at this whole story?
It actually started 270 days ago when there was a law that was enacted in Congress, bipartisan, where both Republicans and Democrats agreed that by the 19th of January, which was yesterday, the app should go dark, should go down. And this is something that was not by coincidence, I'm sure, just the day before the inauguration of Trump, because Biden still wanted to be having this part of his presidency, like I did this thing, and but on the other hand, he lost the election primarily because of people also voting on TikTok, or people from that were famous on TikTok or were on TikTok that voted for Trump. I mean, Trump has never had as many youth voters as any president before him. And this had everything to do with, of course, TikTok. And so Trump already promised during his election campaign that he would save TikTok. And so it was quite interesting on Sunday evening that, or yesterday evening, that Trump gave a speech and said, yeah, well, TikTok's back. I made it happen. But it was completely crazy because it should have gone dark. Even today, right now, as we speak, it should not be online, because ultimately all the cloud providers, they should be getting fines to keep it online. It's not legal, and these are huge fines to pay. Also, Apple and Google or the app stores and so on, they have to keep it down. But Trump said, "Don't worry, nobody will get prosecuted. I will make sure it's all fine. Just keep it online and keep it back online. We'll all be fine."
I read somewhere, guys, that Trump gave TikTok now 90 days to sell it, or to maybe make a 50% joint venture of it. And I also read that he got a seat. The CEO of TikTok got a seat on the first row at the inauguration later today.
Yes.
So
yes.
Is any of that true, or were those rumors?
No. So Shou, the CEO, the Singaporean CEO of TikTok, will get a front seat at the inauguration. That's for sure. But yeah, the 90 days were already set into law before that. It was under the law itself said that there could be one-time extension of 90 days on certain conditions, and that makes it very difficult because the conditions is that there would be a sale. So TikTok has to sell within these 90 days to a US company. And now Trump talks about a 50-50 joint venture, which is something completely new, because it's kind of weird for me, and it's 50-50 joint venture, because that doesn't confirm that ultimately it's American owned. So if there's still Chinese ownership in there, how are they going to control it? So I'm not sure how that's going to work. But it is a real catch-22, because if you look at it, the sale has to happen. But the question is, are they going to sell the algorithm or not? And if they sell the algorithm, then ultimately they have to get approval by the Communist Party of China. And they will probably not give the approval unless there's a deal with the government of the US for something else. Maybe suddenly they can get AI chips or something like that. Then maybe they're okay to sell the algorithm. But on the other hand, well, does Biden want to sell the algorithm? That's the other thing. Because ultimately this is a huge money-making machine. And with the 50-50 joint venture, there's already been Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tanks that said, I'm going to put in $20 billion. That's what was said. But I mean, it's worth at least double. And ByteDance is generating like $7 billion a quarter. So money is not their issue. They are generating more money than anywhere else. And although there's 170 million users in the US, there's 1.5 billion globally. So US is only like 10-15% of the market of TikTok. So why would Biden sell the whole algorithm and jeopardize the whole market outside of the US? So it's not going to be easy. So far in these 270 days, ByteDance was not willing to sell the algorithm. So why would they do it now? So a 50-50 joint venture, I think that could work. But then I think there has to be a legal way of sorting this, so that the government in the US feels, of course there's a new government, but that both that in Congress and the Supreme Court feels that there's no national security risk anymore, which is very hard. Now, what I also wanted to talk a little bit about was the fact that then suddenly a lot of TikTok users went to a Chinese app called Red Note. And I don't know if you heard about that, but
I heard about it. I saw this morning in the news that even in Belgium, it is currently the most downloaded app.
Yeah.
It pushed ChatGPT off the throne, and it's super popular. But it's crazy because it's completely in Chinese. It doesn't exist in English yet, but still.
Well,
it's
there is
super
an
popular.
English. There's an English version, meaning so you can get English, but it's if you don't know Chinese, it's really hard to use, and you don't get the full version if you get the English version. So it's very limited. I have an account on Xiaohongshu. I'm not posting yet, but I'm going to start doing that very soon now. I'm just following some. I mean, it's quite crazy that all the Americans would then suddenly go to a Chinese app that is 100% Chinese. So if there's any doubt about the Communist Party being involved, I mean, even the name Red Note, it's called in Chinese Xiaohongshu. It's Little Red Book. I mean, this is from Mao Zedong, Little Red Book. How more Chinese can it be? And I mean, all these Americans went on Red Note, and it was like a tsunami of Americans in a completely Chinese cultural mindset and cultural values, and specifically, it's all about stories, and people really feel this is their safe space in China. Because you can express more on Xiaohongshu than any other platform, because it's so topic related, so it's easier to censor because it's quite focused on certain topics. And so
you
they
can
got
just imagine the discussions in the Communist Party in China in this WTF moment where they said, really? Why? You know?
I think in Beijing they must have gone mad. It's like, what do we do now? How do we censor these Americans on our platforms? I mean, this is completely unseat. I mean, there was really crazy posts on Xiaohongshu. I mean, there were Americans posting with guns on there. I mean, that's not what you do in China. There was an American saying, oh, here's my sweet little cat. Do you want to eat it? I mean, come on. I mean, it was full of this thing. Also hate things. I mean, lots of things that you don't do. So the cultural value clash between the Chinese and the Americans went completely head to head. But what was very interesting is that many Americans, for the first time, and Europeans, you'll have the same thing, realized that there's another platform that's actually pretty interesting in terms of communities. And so they started liking some of them just in these 48 hours that they did, or even a little bit longer. They started really liking some of the things out of China. There's now a boom like crazy on Americans learning Chinese on Xiaohongshu. I mean, it's like, and so the Chinese are saying, oh, finally the Americans have figured out that we are a nation to be loved and that we are nice people. And so, this was completely hilarious. But I think it's a good thing. Now, I do believe Xiaohongshu will now have a lot of problems in the US because they will get through the same censorship. I mean, you can't call it censorship when it's about the US, but getting potential bans in the US with their international platform, so they will probably have to keep to China or do the same thing as TikTok.
And it's fascinating to see how fluid consumer behavior is again, and how difficult it is to control. You lock them out of something, and then within 24 hours you see millions of people around the world going to a new direction. The fact that it's today all over the traditional media, the whole story of Red Note is going to boost that again. You're going to have millions of people exploring it.
Oh yeah.
And it's just in 48 hours, you see how you can move an entire population from place A to place B in this digital world. And it's so hard to control, and the power of the mass and the power of influencers is proven once again. It's incredible, super impressive.
Yeah.